What do you think about that?
Could you say again how quickly after you received the shot did you have the cardiac event?
About a week, maybe week and a half.
Okay, yeah, so my opinion on that would be, particularly since they looked at everything, they couldn't find anything. I would say, yeah, there's a very high chance that that was definitely due to the vaccine. You said it was the third dose?
Second dose.
Second
Yeah,
dose. Okay.
I never went back.
Okay.
Never went back for another dose. And then in fact, I had recurring events for that preceding year, or for that following year. Um, so basically what would happen is my entire face would just turn really red all of a sudden. I would get this rushing pressure in my head, get really, really dizzy, really weak, and I would collapse. I did ended up having to go back to the hospital for another emergency ride about a month after I got out of the hospital. Um, and I was able to recover from that. This past year, I have not had any episodes. In total, I had 32, I think 32 episodes. My wife would know better because she kept track of it. Um, and then finally, like, they became less and less and less as time went on. And then this past year, I was finally able to get back in shape, back to training 6 days a week. And again, I know a lot of people were like, oh, yeah, you're probably doing steroids. I don't do steroids. I don't do TRT. Everything is all natural. That's the way I've always been. So I haven't had, I've been recurrence free for a year now, which has just been fantastic. But for that first year, it was absolute hell. Like, I went from being very fit 47-year-old to feeling like I was 75.
Yeah, that checks out. Unfortunately, with so many other individuals that have experienced very similar outcomes, where it's, yeah, like a few years of just debilitating cardiovascular adverse events that seemingly occur every week or more often. And then it does slowly kind of resolve as it appears some of that, perhaps if there was cardiac inflammation or some sort of clotting disorder, impairing blood flow. There's so many different things that these mRNA injections cause. It's hard to pinpoint what could exactly be the exact cause of that. But I would say, do you remember if the batch number started with E?
You know what? I don't. I don't.
Okay, because
I
that's
just, yeah, the only thing I know is that uh we both got the P shot from that company, not the M company. And yeah, it was, it the first time I got the shot, I had almost no side effects. A lot of people, they would get the shot and then they would have, a really rough day. My wife got it and she was just laid out. She was so much pain, sick, everything for 24 hours, and then she was fine. And then the same thing with the booster shot. I didn't feel anything. I was like just normal. Didn't feel even the slightest bit effects from it. And then week and a half later, I'm waking up in the hospital. My wife's telling me, I thought I lost you. It's like, what? What happened?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you. You're very lucky because unfortunately, some people, would go through the same thing and they died. In fact, there's hundreds of thousands of American deaths. In fact, the casualty death toll estimate, it ranges. There's three independent estimates. It ranges from 470,000 to now 900,000, according to CDC mortality data. So, hundreds of thousands were unfortunately terminated by these inoculations. And so, yeah, but it is great that some people were able to, dodge a major bullet with regards to fatalities. And what we're so very concerned about is that they're still being given, particularly to 6-month old babies.
Yeah.